I'll call this meeting of the Vernon Select Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome our visitors and anybody that's watching.
Marilyn.
Mary Lynn, okay. Hi, Mary Lynn. I have no remarks. Is there any additions to the agenda? Seeing none. Open public comment for items not on the agenda. We have some in, okay. Dave Emery, you are up.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman. Mark Snow is unavailable, so I'm going to fly solo tonight. But thank you for the invitation, and I'll bring you up to speed from the governor's conference this afternoon. And we're going back into some of the history. As of today, there's 31,911 cases in Vermont. 121 new cases today. And unfortunately, we've seen 301 deaths. I went back and looked at some of my reports, and back in February or March, we had just over 10,000 cases with 163 deaths. So in a short period, we certainly have climbed and dipped and climbed, and we're back up on the climbing ladder right now, unfortunately, with the new variants that's out there. Right now, all the hospitals in Vermont are not at peak. There's still room, and they're not in crisis right now. However, they are working. 47 people are in the hospital. 46 of them are adults that have not been vaccinated. Vermont has 80% of the hospitalization in the last 6 weeks have been non-vaccinated people. The governor labeled this as the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Vermont is not in a state of emergency. The cases this week did not come down. However, it didn't climb. It leveled off. We have been seeing 120 for the past couple of weeks. The governor encourages people to look at the data and do some soul searching and look at what the vaccine can prevent and what it can do. 87.3% of Vermont has had at least one shot of the vaccine. Next that you've all heard of is the booster. The booster is not out yet. Vermont isn't doing it yet, but they expect maybe by the end of the week or next week, it may be available in the state of Vermont. And they're going to start again as they did with the original, with the most vulnerable in the 65 plus age group. They anticipate it going a little bit faster than it did originally. And they also suggest that if you elect to do that, that you go back to the place that you got your first two. And so to meet that criteria, you have to have, your vaccine has to be over 6 months old. So the story is the same thing that we've been talking about from the beginning. If you're sick, stay home. Wear a mask if you're in a crowd or try to avoid crowds, and wash your hands. One of the things, Vernon School, as you know, has had positive cases. Vernon Green has had positive cases, but none of them are in a crisis situation right now, and they're being able to handle it. Vernon Green is in contact with the state daily, and the school is working through the school department on their procedures. You probably all saw the President of the United States order about vaccines, and a lot of that, for any company that is 100 employees or over, that hasn't been finished yet. However, it appears that it's going to go into an OSHA type of thing. Vermont is an OSHA state, so what that means, if that does pass, that there will be some sort of issue that Vermont will deal with for employers with 100 or more for mandatory vaccine. And that is all that I can tell you about COVID as of today. Any questions?
Michael,
No, man.
All set.
thank you very much for staying on
Thanks,
top
David.
of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's see, minute approval.
I had a couple of thoughts.
Okay,
Right at the beginning, due to COVID, the meeting was held, should we say in person and via Zoom, because that's what the open meeting law is now, and just forget the second sentence. And I think the only person that zoomed in was the Windham Regional person, Margot, right?
No, Mark Snow was in
Yeah.
earlier, wasn't he?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
he was that day.
There he is.
Yeah.
And so he has a comma after his name, so he should say health officer. What's that?
I didn't realize he was that officer, that's my error.
Yeah, that's his title, right? Oh, yeah, and I can have clerk, with a comma and then nothing. And then page 4, is that what it is? Jeff Dunkley's name is spelled wrong.
Where's this one?
Page 4, I think we should probably have that page numbered. So about the middle of the page, it says J. Dunkley and it has it ending in a Y,
Oh,
and he's the EE. That's all.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
one
You have
other
another one?
correction, I'm sorry, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
That's fine.
On page 5, just 7th or 8th line down, just put an O next to my name. Where it says Garen.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I missed you.
Yeah, I know.
Crush.
Thank you.
Michael, do you have any?
No.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, Michael?
Aye.
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 And I'm an aye, motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Okay.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Before you do that,
Yes.
did you want me to do a report on the emergency management overall?
I missed that, I'm sorry, yes, I do.
I'm
yeah.
willing to, I'll wait till you're done, because I'll be saying anyways, but.
Okay,
I
well,
just-
we'll, after the treasurers, okay?
Yep.
Thank you for catching that. My glasses wanted help.
Okay, I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 6T accounts payable, $80,842.06. 36S payroll, $11,900.34. And 37S payroll, $7,835.01.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Michael?
Aye.
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 And I'm an aye, my motion carries. Okay, you're up, David.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Actually, I'll be brief here. To begin with, I'll give you a quick history lesson. Emergency management never used to be a thing. It used to be civil defense. And after civil defense went away, emergency management cropped up in FEMA. We've all been fond of and heard of for years. So after some disasters, it was realized in hazardous materials, the feds passed this thing called SARA Title III. And SARA Title III said that there has to be more state and local involvement in emergencies. So what they did was they created the Emergency Management Division. So in Vermont, emergency management is a standalone with its own director. However, At some time, it became emergency management and homeland security. I'm not sure what it is right now, if that has been separated again. And then it moves down to the locals, and the locals are required by state law to have an emergency management director. If the select board elects not to have a director, then the chairman of the board automatically assumes that responsibility. So you can do it either way, and it doesn't matter. Or you can appoint, or however, and as you know here, the director is appointed by the board. So that's kind of how that whole thing works. Now, on a local level, what do we do? Vernon has, for lots of years, had an active group of emergency people, primarily because of Vermont Yankee. And Vernon and Windham County was one of the strongest and the most up-to-date groups around the state for emergency management, and it is still today that same way. However, because of COVID, our group hasn't had a meeting since there was this pandemic started, for obvious reasons. However, I try to send out some emails to keep them somewhat involved. As the director, though, this is probably one of the busiest years that I have been involved with, even when I was with the state emergency management. And COVID certainly has not let up, so that keeps us going. We have the responsibility not only to Vermont Yankee, but any emergency that would require any type of an evacuation. We are not responders. We are a group that can get together and offer resources. We have radio communications and all types of communication on the state level. We have resource lists, and as you know, you see the emergency plan every year that you all approve. So that's updated every year. The whole state and the country has turned more to what they're calling an all hazards plan. So we're looking at areas of problems, any hazardous materials or type of thing, and as we know, we have the railroad here that we've been dealing with since the early, probably 1700s. So that is high on the radar. We work directly with the fire chief and the fire department. We have direct communications with the sheriff's department, and work with them in planning, as well as the highway. The highways become one of the most critical infrastructures when we start to lose them for emergency planning for moving people and stuff like that. So our plan is, if you have the opportunity to read it, we go all the way from the basic nothing to a unified command that would bring everyone back together. In the event that there is a disaster and FEMA and the feds come in, the emergency management office would be kind of responsible to help them get set up and direct them towards places that would need to be looked at, or bridges or roads. So the office that we have on Governor Hunt Road would probably be filled with FEMA people and we would be providing them with information and direction and stuff like that. There's not any emergency response from us as far as going out and putting out fires or anything like that. We're not doing that. One of the challenges that we have right now is the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, is located at the old Edson House and we've been looking, because eventually that building is going to be something else, probably go back to a residence or whatever. So we need to relocate our office, and that was high on the priority list the first year that I've been here, and this is my third year, I think, here. But it obviously went to the bottom of the priority list with everything else that's going on. So there's two sites that we've been talking about, is using this site, the town hall, the municipal office is here. Down where the sheriff's office is, sharing or using part of that. Because when this building was built, that's where it was originally. We've also looked at the Vernon firehouse. Both of them have different needs for us to relocate. We need emergency power, obviously, and this building doesn't allow us emergency power at this point. And radios, which that could happen pretty easily. The Vernon Fire has all of that stuff, but it doesn't have the space. So we would end up, and some of you, I know, have been involved with Sandy and have been involved with emergency management for a very long time. It used to be, when it left here, it went to the Vernon Firehouse, and it was down in the dungeon of the bowels of that firehouse, and it was deemed to be unhealthy and unsafe, so it was relocated. So that's one of the things that we need to do. However, I think it's kind of at the point where I know there's some talks and discussions about redoing and putting emergency power in this building. And if the EOC does relocate here, it might offer an opportunity for grant stuff because of that. So I know that we had looked at it at one point, but I think it kind of, again, with so many things going on. So let me see, what else did I have noted here? The committee is also a member of the Vernon School Emergency Planning Committee, so we're involved with them. Primarily, again, as advisory. And my goal is to keep you all up to speed on anything that may become issues down the road or above before it happens. During emergency planning for hurricanes and stuff like that, we kind of take a lead only in looking at everything that we have and making sure we're ready to go. The last hurricane that was predicted, I was out of town, but made it back the day before. Unfortunately, we didn't have it. But Vernon is pretty well prepared. You know, Vernon, I'm pretty happy to say that there's a lot of people that have a lot of interest in this town, and the neighbors really do look out for each other. So we're here to just assist and facilitate some of that. So I know that was kind of a bunch of the thing that we will be doing. Once we get squared away, we'll be reorganizing the whole committee again and looking at, we'll bring back, and there's probably people that have had enough. And I'm not sure that we need as many as we had in the past, but we're gonna look at reorganizing our whole selves and our whole beings and to see where we wanna go with that, so. But again, that's in that page of when we think it's safe to do that.
Thank you. Michael, do you have any questions? No?
A couple. Have we trained our treasurer or town administrator when we have them under the FEMA regs for continuity of
Continuity of government operations.
right, and continuation of government?
There was a page, you want to speak to that, Tim? I know that there was the continuity of operations for not only the people, but the physical location
Right.
was there.
Yeah, where the treasurer is really becomes the king and queen.
Yeah, that's the critical point.
Yeah, and we have your public information officer.
We yes. the
Your public
PIO.
information
Tim's the
officer,
PIO
thank you.
for our group, yeah.
I'm sorry, because I haven't been around.
That's okay.
Is there been any work with the regional transit group for when you need to stage an evacuation that they can send buses, down to assist with that and go, maybe have a pickup point if there has to be.
Yeah.
But are they all set to go too?
That is, not going way back, but during Vermont Yankee, there was a complete setup
Yeah.
with every town in the EPZ that included evacuation routes as well as providing buses and/or transportation to and from schools, for farms, for
Right.
re-entry. That is all in the plan, as well as the security if the town is evacuated.
Okay, yeah, and with Vermont Yankee gone, that plan still stays in effect?
It does.
Okay.
The plan basically has an all hazards title to it now versus a VY
Yeah.
plan. So it wouldn't matter why we were evacuated.
Right,
And the town also has, we've abandoned the emergency sirens. The sirens are
Right.
gone. However, they're still physically up. We've abandoned that for numerous reasons. One, the cost of maintaining them. And so now, and I probably should mention this, there's a system called Vermont Alert, VT Alert.
Mhm.
It is probably the best thing that any individual could sign up for. It's free. It's maintained and run by the state. You put in your cell phone or your home phone or your email, and it will notify you. And you can pick any region that you live in. So you could pick Vernon, you could pick Burlington.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to have weather notifications or whatever, and it'll beep your phone, it'll come to your email. As well as the town has the ability, we trained some people on that back a while ago, where you could use it for notification
Right.
of just parts of the town. For instance, if there was an area that, God forbid, we had a train derailment, we wanted to evacuate a 2-mile radius, you can actually take a map and draw that 2-mile radius and beat those people in that.
okay,
So yes,
Yeah.
that is still in effect.
All right.
The state exercises that plan, the state maintains that
Right.
plan. We don't maintain it. One of the things that probably we could use, and gosh, I'm gonna say it was a while ago, all the EMDs meet regular, the EMDs and the fire chiefs
Yeah.
meet regular. And so we used to keep a list of people that needed assistance in evacuating themselves or from the area. However, because of laws now, getting that information is extremely difficult, and people don't want to share that. So what we have done is we became partners with all of the agencies, the Visiting Nurses Association, and everyone that does that job. We became partners with them, where in the event that we needed to contact people in Vernon for evacuation, we could contact them and they will actually provide that service. They can't, only under a direct emergency can they provide us with a name.
Yeah.
So that's in place also.
thank you.
But I'd love to sit down with you anytime that you have a free moment, and we can go over some of the finer details of each.
Yeah, I'd love to do
Yeah.
that, thank you.
I know I got a message from you a month or so ago, and I haven't answered it yet.
That's
Now I
okay.
am.
Get in line, So,
Jane, do you have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very
Thank you.
I'll
good.
keep you posted.
Okay,
Sorry for the questions.
no, that's very good. Town admin report.
Okay, gazebo garden space. I've been in contact with our local Girl Scouts, Charlene Brasky, and they're interested in refreshing the garden space. As soon as they meet, they're talking about possibly even planting seasonal flowers at their own cost. And they'll work with us and collaborate with us if we have other plantings that we'd like to put out there.
Wonderful.
So it's a work in progress, but they're very interested. Let's see, we had a meeting on Thursday evening with Rescue Inc. We attended the meeting. It was the police chief, myself, and my group.
Fire chief.
Fire chief, I apologize. So the rates will not be increasing for 2022 for any foreseeable reason, other than the possible fluctuation in the population as it's based on the per person rate.
Right.
24-25 there'll be a 1% increase, and 25-26 we'll see a 1% increase. Vermont Yankee plant model out in the lobby. I received a quote for $500 from the movers who moved the office and the storage space upstairs. I tried to get 2 additional quotes. I got one quote from Family Movers in Vermont for $395 to move the model to the basement. I did contact Daniels Moving, but I haven't heard back from them, so I'm not sure if you want me to try to contact somebody else, maybe from the Keene area, or what your thoughts are. I've exhausted all the movers that I could find in
So,
the area.
ones that were doing the other movement upstairs, didn't you say that they had moved that model before?
They have moved it so many times for Vermont Yankee before, they know it inside and out.
And,
It breaks down into 3 pieces, he explained everything to me,
yeah,
And their price was?
500.
Okay.
You wanna do it for cheaper?
Well, there was one for $395, but if they don't, I'd rather get somebody who knows what they're doing with it.
And
That's
they're
it,
local.
you know?
Really
Yeah.
familiar with it.
And Cindy knows where to take
Yeah.
the money from?
I'm not sure. I haven't discussed that with her. But I can inquire, I'm sure she probably knows where that would come from.
So what is your pleasure?
I move that we allow, town administrator to arrange to get the model moved. By, what is that movement?
Butch.
Butch,
Okay, Butch.
Butch, last name begins with an A. I can't remember.
Okay, I
can't
can't
remember.
remember his business name.
Butch is moving. Butch is moving in storage, I believe.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. For $500.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? Okay, all those in favor, Michael?
Aye.
Tom?
No.
Jimmy?
Aye.
And then so it carries.
I've been getting involved a little bit in the dry hydrant project, and the fire chief is asking to pull together a proposal for estimates. And I noticed when I pulled some of the records from 2014 that our highway superintendent had put together an estimate and done some of the work on this. So before we determine the scope of the work that we need to put out for bid, I'd like to contact him and see how much they can contribute to try to save some money.
Good idea.
Right, and then I just have a couple of announcements. The Vermont Agency of Natural Resources is launching a series of public events to gather feedback and ideas for statewide climate action plan. And additional information on these dates and locations can be found at climatechange.vermont.gov. And Vermont Trans has announced that they are now accepting applications for the Transportation Alternatives Grant Program. And the deadline for that's going to be November 24th. They're going to be holding an informational webinar October 5th on that. So it's going to be happening pretty quickly. So I'm not sure. So this is an alternatives grant. So they're talking about development for infrastructure for bicycles and pedestrians, including sidewalks and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure if this is something that you're familiar with.
We used to have a bicycle path on Pond Road.
So I was going to speak in the webinar and see if I can get some information. So it looks like
Thank you.
the planning board has a lot of things in place. And Just an FYI, I will be out of the office October 6th. I'll be in early for the budget meeting. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, nuclear storage questions, Maddy Arms.
So in July and early August, I came to you because I had been pressed for a position, a town position, on consolidated interim storage of spent nuclear fuel, which we have. And my concern was that we have something that made sense and also that I could offer to not only to the Spent Nuclear Fuel Policy Committee, but the NDCAP and to the state. So I'm going to read you that was agreed to here at a meeting. The federal nuclear government has not performed its own mandate to assume ownership and storage of spent nuclear fuel. Thus, the current licensee, North Star, will monitor and maintain the efficacy pad until the federal government cites a repository or repositories. The town of Vernon acknowledges the responsibility and the risk of housing the fuel until an approved repositories is selected and the fuel can be transported off-site. The town of Vernon supports a repository site or sites under the following conditions: approval by the federal government, DOE, Congress, and the NRC, deemed tested safe by engineering and environmental experts by known and reasonable standards, and 3, received approval consent from the state, territory, town, or country chosen to be the repositories. This includes one single repository, multiple repositories, or interim storage. So this was published in an article in the Brattleboro Reformer by Susan Small here. And a week ago, the NRC approved the construction of consolidated interim storage in Texas. However, the state of Texas has been vehemently opposed to this. So after the approval by the NRC, Susan Small here contacted me again and said, under this new circumstance where a site has been approved, does this town still stand by the original support proposal? And before I wanted to say anything publicly to anyone, I wanted to come back to you and make sure that we were all on the same page. So that's what I need to know from you.
Michael?
I agree.
Tom?
I have a question. I'm sorry. In the beginning of your document, you said that the town of Vernon accepts the responsibility, assumes responsibility. And I just need to know, what responsibility does the town government assume on the storage of?
We accept that the storage of the fuel is going to
Okay.
be here for.
Okay, so
And
we don't
I
assume
may-
any responsibility as a
we
local
have,
government.
No, the licensee.
Right, I understand, but the word assumed bothered me. Maybe accept as opposed to assume, or acknowledges, yeah, that's, I just don't want any misinterpretation by somebody 15 years from now or 20 years from now saying, well, you assumed responsibility. And I don't want, municipal government can't assume any responsibility.
If that's possible, I can change that wording.
Michael? Do you want the wording changed?
How was the change? It says acknowledges.
Well, it says acknowledges.
Okay, I heard assume.
Yeah.
It's in your packet.
Yeah, I know.
I acknowledges is the word.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
It says it's rare to me.
Yeah.
It's rare.
So, and at that point, I'll probably call Susan tomorrow and tell her that we are still on the same page.
Yeah.
This is what we agreed to.
Maddie, thank you so
Yeah,
much
that's
for
a
all
lot of
you're
work.
doing on that.
I also attended another spent fuel, nuclear policy committee yesterday, and I went to the site for a tour, and then I went to the INDICAP meeting in the evening, and, there's a lot going on, but I really feel that after, Michael went as well to the tour, I really feel that North Star is maintaining pristine as it can be under the circumstances, and that they've been very open and transparent with the town in order to assure us that we are not going to be left with anything less than a well-maintained and a good site eventually when they actually are out of here. The fuel will remain
Right.
until the government can get their act together, but everything else is going to be as they promised.
Excellent.
Thank you. Weather monitoring equipment, Mr. Emery.
Well, I know I spoke at your last meeting a little bit, so I don't have a great deal more. However, I want to give you the background there. We thought it would be kind of nice if we had some real live data available to us versus going to a setup where you had to go to weather.com or whatever. So what we were looking for and talked about was ability to have a rain gauge, wind direction specifically to what might impact us here in Vernon. So we started looking around for that type of equipment, and lo and behold, it runs everywhere from $250 to $5,000. So I don't think any of us are interested in being that detailed about the weather. So it would look like we're going to be way down under anything that would require the select board's approval. It would be probably in, I'm gonna say the $500 range, which would come out of my budget or wherever. So what the intent is that we have that ability so that the fire chief, the highway superintendent, and myself and they set it up so it would come directly to your phone so that we could see that information live for the town of Vernon. The key is, where do we put it? So I think between the three of us, we're gonna do some more homework on it and find out, the highway guys need to know when they're gonna spread salt, what the temperature is and where it works best, etc. And we know that the top of Huckle Hill is far different temperature than the bottom of Huckle Hill. So having said that, and Tyler Hill's the same way. So having said that, we're going to kind of put our heads together and see what we can come up with, but I don't think it's going to be anything that, other than what you may be interested in knowing about it, that would require any funds or anything from the select board or to do that. So that's where we're at.
Great. Michael, any questions?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Jean? Thank you very much. Okay, town hall cleaning and lawn care. Shelley? You're up. Town hall cleaning and lawn care.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I received an email from our contractor regarding the cleaning and lawn care, and they will be terminating services in the next 2 weeks. So that is a concern.
How long was their contract for? When did we renew that?
Just started it as a new one.
Didn't we just start
It's
it?
a new one, 'cause it's combined.
It was like in July we started it.
I remember back a year or so ago, you doubled up
Yeah,
on the sanitation cleaning, but.
Yeah, this time we combined snow,
Right, with it, right.
snow shoveling, the lawn maintenance and the cleaning in one.
so we need to, put it out for,
We didn't get anybody but them last time.
that's not good.
I don't know, unless somebody knows a company, I don't know, we're probably gonna have to separate it again somehow. 'Cause I don't see. We only got with them last time, they're not gonna bid this time, obviously, so we're not gonna leave us with no bids, wasting our time, I
Right,
think.
Yeah.
got it.
I think combining, not all cleaning services will have, do lawn care.
Do the lawn and shoveling separate from the
shoveling, yeah.
cleaning, I think it's the only way to go.
In the, being afraid of being a skunk at a garden party, I'm gonna ask a question. Might it make sense for the town to hire a part-time person 20 hours a week all year and have that person also in the summer months
We have to buy all new equipment.
work with the DPW? Well, there's a snow blower that I know we own.
Lawn mowing equipment we gave it, it's all gone.
Yeah,
Snow blower belonged to JJ Wielden, I believe.
okay, well, I just remember
Well,
it
that
being
was-
out there.
Yeah,
That
But-
belonged to the last people that did it.
Okay,
it did because the tractor had a snow blower on it. and
yeah,
then
you
the
sold
rest-
that.
Yeah, but I mean, I have been that skunk in the past couple of years. Because being in the building and having nobody here to help you with anything is difficult.
Mhm.
And the snow removal, I mean, our insurance is such that it's only supposed to accumulate a certain amount.
I think
And
it's
it's
one
gotta be
inch.
cleaned off, and so what ends up is, Cindy's out there calling, get back here and shovel, I mean, it's taking a lot of
Time.
staff time between town administrator,
Yep,
and it's not good use of their time, and that's what I've always advocated, and I felt like putting all those contracts together, and these are all the things that in the past, our custodian has taken care of. Cleaning the trash. Now, see, we had, that cleaning company got our trash and recycling out, so I'm already starting to think, how's that gonna work? And did all the yard work, and that is what our custodian did before, and yes, we would have to get another tractor because
Yeah, I wasn't,
I've always felt that was what we should go back to.
Yeah.
That's not been a shared feeling.
okay.
obviously.
And it may not be a good 52-week-a-year thing for the town when you consider workers' comp and some other things that go along with an employee, okay? And you have the ancillary costs of 0.40% if it's, but we're coming up on budget. It may be something to look at while we're talking about the budget. It may not be in the end something that the board feels is the right thing to do, but it's certainly worth a look at since we're in this period. That doesn't do us anything for in 2 weeks from now when somebody is, that company is gone.
Right.
So I don't,
So in terms of budgeting for this, we don't pay unemployment in the town. We
So-
have our own unemployment fund, so that's off.
right.
But any contractor is gonna be, of course, adjusting their
That's
price
right.
to include all their insurance and,
Mhm.
Mhm.
things that they have to pay employees.
but right, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's probably,
Yeah.
it's an idea that I think I would hope the board would consider exploring at this point. That's all I'm gonna ask.
I would love that, cause I've tried for several years.
Same here.
So, yeah, and this might be our reckoning here when we lost the one person that bid on it. But,
Tim, have you got any ideas?
Me? I have none except that if I see something in the way or something that needs picked up, I'm obviously gonna do it because I'm a town employee.
Right.
But is it a good idea for me to do that? Probably not.
right.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things, some of the wood that should be painted does not get done. You know, these were all things that custodians did in the past.
Windows,
Um,
it's all one floor.
We used to have,
The floor, yeah, the floor and the carpet cleaning, our
Yeah.
custodian did that themselves.
they did all
Place
that.
was pristine for a long time.
It was.
So
Yeah.
I think it's time to look into it seriously.
could I ask that we ask the town administrator to take a look at what other towns of similar size and complexity as it is, might have for custodial service, employment, and what duties they perform?
Great
Thank
idea.
you.
Thank you.
That would be helpful.
Okay, and
So for
for.
the meantime,
Yeah. In the meantime,
So
And-
he mowed, well, he said 30 days from September 9th. So to me, that puts us into October a little bit, and hopefully the lawn does not, he just mowed the lawn Monday.
they should, till fall when the leaves start falling, we should be fine
Wow.
mowing wise.
And
You're dropping already.
Yeah.
we've been through that before, that it's just never been picked up in the fall and then it dealt with later, so.
Sure.
But the cleaning, you know, we were having since COVID 2 times a
Yeah.
week cleaning, and now we've got, that's before we really had the public in here. Now we do have the public in here, so I think that's.
do we
pretty
have the
important.
fogger for the disinfectant for the building?
What's that?
Do we have a fogger for disinfecting the
I hope
offices?
not, because I don't wanna ever breathe that.
And if I might, the CDC has come down saying that disinfecting like tabletops and things like that isn't that critical anymore, because it's an aerosol.
The
as
schools
opposed to-
require it.
Yeah,
It's not as, right, it's not as critical.
I
It's
can
not
see it
to
in the
say-
school, all the, because
Yeah.
there's so many of the little darlings together, so. No, seriously, you know.
Yeah. And that's also because we still clean the books in the library, but most of that is my wanting the books just clean because they were disgusting. And, we've continued on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I still feel like that's not a bad thing.
You know, if we had a contract leaf pickup for, you know, cleaning the leaves off, you know, there's plenty of guys, not just guys, companies out there that, you know, Connor Hamilton is one, he's out of Brattleboro, there's a bunch. There's some guys locally that could do it too.
To do like, would come in and do like a
So-
ball cleanup.
Yeah,
Kind
just
of thing.
blow the leaves and, you know, rake up around the.
Do we need a
shrubbery.
motion to have her put it back out to 2 separate bids, or can you just?
Well,
I make a motion to have her separate the bids from cleaning is one, snow removal and lawn maintenance is another one. Put it back out.
is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, Michael?
Aye.
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah, because even if we get something into the budget, it's not gonna take
Right,
us
it's
until
not
next
till
July,
July.
so almost a
Right.
year away.
That's when we get somebody in here now till we can figure that out.
Does the board need a motion to ask the town administrator to do that, or can we just ask the town
We just
administrator?
ask the
to
town
do that?
administrator.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now Mr. Arsenault.
Welcome back. You all know me, and I believe you all know Jim Pinkerton. We're currently your two representatives for the town on the Windham Regional Commission. Right now, I am the newly elected board treasurer for Windham Region. They had an opening and I wanted to learn finance, so it was a good marriage. In addition, I am the chair of the Commission's Energy Committee. I'll tell you how both of those come together. First of all, the full commission is scheduled to approve next year's budget. Their fiscal year begins October 1st at a meeting next week. The proposed per capita assessment for each town, member town, is $2.42, which I believe is a minimal, if any, amount of increase for the town. They do rely on health department numbers for the population, and they haven't gotten their census information as yet. Also in the new budget is money from the State Climate Council for climate resilience and additional energy planning. And looking forward to that, and also brings me to my suggestion that the town look at forming a volunteer energy committee, perhaps as an offset of the planning commission, to work on climate resiliency planning. This would be different than trying to bring a large-scale generator to town. It'd be more ways of helping citizens afford the cost of heating their homes, and looking at things that perhaps helping everybody find life more affordable.
Good.
Jim?
I'm on the Windham Regional Commission also, you're a representative, and I'm on the Natural Resources Subcommittee and the Planning Subcommittee. And and Tim can testify to this, during COVID, we haven't had a whole lot of activity. It's not that we are not doing anything, it's that people out in the state aren't doing anything, so we don't really have anything to review. And in the town of Vernon, the only thing that's come up on review at all is Colebrook and its proximity to flood zone. So that's why I haven't come to you and said, hey, this is what's going on at a regional level. That's another good point. By being on this committee, I see stuff that's happening all around the area. And if I see something that is even remotely related to Vernon, I'm gonna come to you and say, hey, these guys are doing this and these guys are doing that. And it give you an opportunity to make decisions before things start to happen.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Questions on Windham Regional, Michael?
Thank you both.
Tom?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Jane?
I can tell you that your interests and the town's interests are being aggressively maintained.
Wonderful.
See that, thank you.
Nice seeing two of you there. Don't go anywhere, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Sign-in sheet?
Yes, after the last select board meeting, with some of the recent events out there, we've had some input from citizens who thought we should be a little bit stronger in our procedures for allowing visitors in. The board, in its wisdom, already has said masks are required, but we would be looking at reinstituting a sign-in sheet for anyone who comes beyond the window. Name and contact information for the purpose of contact tracing.
And also, if they use the building downstairs, they should have them.
You
What's
did
that?
say that as a stipulation for people using the
Right,
building.
good.
Yeah.
Okay,
You sign in.
Well, we do that at the office now
Yeah.
too.
that's great.
Good idea.
At one point during the pandemic, I had been taking temperatures, but I don't think I need to do that just yet.
Right.
But if things change, we may need to.
Hold on to it.
By the way, Madam Chairman, I also would request an executive session on personnel within my office.
Okay, if you have nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session personnel. Would you pass that to Jane, please?
Oh, that's his job now.
Stop it right there. No.
Thanks, Jim, good job.
So,
Think it's-
appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer and employee?
Yeah.
Okay. So, move that we enter into executive session, 1 VSA 313A, for the purpose of appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee,
With the town clerk and town administrator.
with the town clerk and town administrator being included at the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Michael?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We are in executive session at 7:26. Okay, the board met in executive session with our town clerk and town administrator. We went at 7:26 and came out at 7:29 and no action was taken. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we allow Tim to advertise for his open position in his office.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh, she was gonna add.
Oh,
Now.
you add-
No, I just say kind of as he sees fit, you know.
Okay, is there any discussion?
No.
All those in favor, Michael?
Aye.
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you for all you're doing.
And by the way, just FYI, I'll be leaving early tomorrow and I'm out on Thursday for the Vermont Municipal Clerk Treasurers Association Convention.
What time are you leaving tomorrow?
I will be leaving by about 3 o'clock.
Okay, so I can bring in your stuff.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Tim.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
Tim.
Okay, upcoming meeting, we have a meeting tomorrow night for budget. And then our next regular meeting will be October 5th. And budget October 6th. If there's nothing else to come before this meeting, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Michael?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:30.
So I guess